Welcome everyone to this episode of Love Rocks, where we explore the love of people, places, and things. I am your host, Roxie Johnson, and I'm excited here today to have our guest, Christopher Schafer. Welcome, Chris.
Thank you.
So Chris is a staple in the Baltimore community, not just in the Baltimore community for no reason. He is a staple in the fashion community, and we are so happy to have him here today. As promised, I always want to talk about the love that I see in someone and how we even got him to be on the show. So I had the honor of randomly going to an event at the Baltimore Museum of Industry, Threads of Baltimore,
Right.
where you were talking on a panel about fashion in Baltimore.
Right.
I was so happy to be there because I just suddenly wound up there. I was actually there with a friend of mine. And when I heard you start talking, I was like, wow, I have heard this name for years and years. Like, I'm from Baltimore. I'm a native of Baltimore. And you weren't always in this building originally.
No, I've been here for 3 years. I was down the street, 7 blocks down the street.
Yes.
At 1400. I was down there
Like on Eden, like at
right at the corner of Eden,
Right at
right
the
across
corner of
from T-Volve and Orange Theory and everything like that. So I was
Yes.
there for 10 years at 1400 Alisana.
So that is where I remember seeing your name all the time. So I was finally excited to be able to put a face to the name.
Right.
And what I realized when I heard you talking about fashion and in Baltimore, I was like, okay, well, that makes sense. You know, he's been doing this forever. Obviously, he's well known and well versed. But I was really impressed when you started to talk about the nonprofit arm of your business,
Oh, thank you.
Sharp Dressed Man. I had never heard of that. So
Right.
I have a lot of background in human services work. That is what where I built myself up.
Okay.
And so it, pulls on my heartstrings, anything to deal with like giving back to the community and showing love. Obviously, this is why we're here with Love Rocks. How did we wind up here? But that's how we wound up here.
Okay.
And when I heard you talk about Sharp Dressed Man and how you fit people, anybody, every Wednesday, from 12 to 2, the people can come in and get fitted for suits, and you will customize suits that have been donated.
Right.
I was just blown away by that. I
Oh,
really
thank
was. It really made me feel like I have to have this man on my show.
Oh, cool.
Because there's nothing that represents love more than giving back to the community, helping out a population to feel their best and confident. And you don't have to do that. We know a lot of people, they don't do that. They don't always
Sure.
give back, but you did. And when you said you had suited over 15,000 people, I was just so impressed. So let me ask you, how is it that you, number one, are you from Baltimore?
I am.
You are from Baltimore.
Yes.
So I can't ask you how you wound up here. That's probably no choice of your own, because it's kind of like me. But how did you wind up in the Fells Point area and choosing this as your home?
Well, when I started the business and the nonprofit, I was actually I worked out of my music studio, which was called the Hour House, which was at the corner of Howard Street and North Avenue.
Oh.
So right where there's an art store that's on the corner there, and we were upstairs from there. And my first year in business, I'd worked out of there, and because that was my creative home for years. So when I started the business, it was a way to be able to have a space that I'd already had and just kind of made it nicer. And so I've kind of blended music and fashion since the inception.
Okay, so blended music and fashion. So how do you currently blend music and fashion?
Well, at the back of this building, I have a whole stage in here, and I'm a drummer, and this is where I rehearse and record and have shows and everything like that. And also I work with musicians and have dressed several musicians over the years. And music was the first love.
Music was your first love.
Yeah.
Okay.
Still is, yeah.
It still is.
Yeah.
I love that. And what is the name of your band?
It's called Glass Fault.
Glass Vault.
Yeah, Glass Fault. Glass Fault is when, like when you go up Charles Street and when you get up by the monument, there's pulverized glass in the asphalt and it makes it kind of shimmer.
Yes.
That's Glass Fault.
Oh.
It's a mix of glass and asphalt.
Oh, and I thought you were saying vault, and I was
No.
like, that's really interesting because it
No.
sounds like shaky.
Yeah.
So-
Fragile.
Yeah, fragile, right?
Yeah.
Like glass fault. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, I like that.
Yep.
So you're shining, but you're also like sturdy.
Like raw and
Raw
refined.
and refined. I
Raw
love
and
that.
refined.
So the other question that I have, so I know, when did you actually start your business? Or how did you even?
Started in 2010. So this fall will be 15 years of being in business.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for 15 years you've been in business. And then I was doing some research about Sharp Dressed Man and see that that's been in existence for over 10 years.
Yeah, actually since 2011.
Okay. So
Yeah.
it didn't take you long to realize that you wanted to jump into that nonprofit
No,
as well.
we had started off where I had a client who I went to go bring some clothes to, and it was kind of an interesting story. He was a guy that he had been buying clothes off of eBay from from the wardrobe department from Law and Order, and
Oh, wow.
so he was a because they'll do multiple, they have to have multiple garments in case something happens, one for continuity
Yeah.
when they're filming, and he was buying clothes from there, and then he was retiring them as he was getting new custom stuff from me, and the stuff that he had that was from Law and Order was really nice, and he gave it to me to find a home for, and then I realized there wasn't really anybody that was doing that for men. There was a lot of women's organizations that were women helping women, but there wasn't much for men that were helping men in the suiting department. So that was sort of how it started, and I was doing that before we started the nonprofit, but it became official in 2011.
Okay. So you've always been full of the love and had love to share. So.
It's as we discussed more, it wasn't always custom suits and luxury.
Okay, so you started at the bottom,
Sure did.
as they say. Okay, well that's good for everybody to know, because a lot of times things look so shiny and glitzy when you get to the top, and people can't even imagine that you were ever at the beginning,
Sure.
which kind of takes me to the purpose of the show as well. So,
Right.
we love the fact that you are a clothier and we love the fact that you give back to the community. But what I really want to know is about, you, the man. We're now going to move into our memoir moment segment, which is
Okay.
like the crux of the show.
Okay.
And so if you haven't watched the show before, the memoir moment is basically our guest, Chris, today. He was given 3 prompts to choose from. I will be surprised by which one he chose. The first one is to talk about an act of love that someone showed him and how it impacted his life. The second is to talk about an act of love that he showed people or a person and how it impacted their lives in his life. And finally, to describe a series of events that led him to a person, place, or thing that he loves. So, what did you choose?
I thought I was supposed to do all 3.
Well, no, it's actually choose one. However, if you did all 3, you want to start with whatever you want to
So
tell
I
me.
would probably start with the person who helped me out.
Okay, so you're going to start with the first question. So, an act of love that impacted his life.
Well, so I'd mentioned that it all wasn't custom suits and roses for a long time. I was down and out pretty hard for a long time. I've been a musician all my life, and I got very caught up in the lifestyle of the rock and roll lifestyle, and got myself into a bad way with addiction, and and I have a friend of mine, Ron, who was a guy that Ron and Bruce, and the 2 guys that I know that had got into recovery, and I had been friends with these guys for a long time, and I would look at them and I wanted what they had, but I couldn't figure out how to make it happen. And I was having, just life just wasn't going the way that I wanted it to go. All I'd wanted to do for so long was to I thought the answer was get a record deal, go on the road, and leave everything behind, and I thought that was the answer to everything. And then it just the drugs and the alcohol and stuff just took over, and it just got me into a really bad space. And Bruce and Ron were guys who kind of helped to pick me up off my feet, off the ground rather.
Rock
and
bottom, if you will.
it was rock bottom. It was definitely rock bottom, and it was a really dark time for a long while. And but they looked after me. They look after me, and now it's I just celebrated 20 years in recovery.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah.
That is major. Anybody who's ever picked up any kind of recreational anything knows that it's like once you get started, it's hard to stop.
It
So,
was very hard to stop. Yeah.
just a quick question in regards to Ron. What was the other person's name?
Bruce and
Ron
Ron.
and Bruce.
Yeah,
So, in relation to them helping you,
sure.
obviously they were your friends. Did you have to go? Did you go to them and ask for help? Had they been offering help, and then it just
They
got to a
knew that I
point
was in a bad way, but I wasn't ready for a
Yeah.
long time, and then finally, you know, I couldn't take it anymore, and I saw the way that they were living and that they were actually happy, and I was like,
I want that.
kind of want that.
Yeah, I want that.
Yeah. So I called them, and they started taking me to meetings and showing me that there was other things that I could do that weren't just revolved around being in a bar all the time or anything like that. So you know, I'm forever grateful to them because that was a major turning point of my life for sure.
Yeah. Well, I love that story, and that definitely is an act of love for anybody to, number one, see that you have a need and be willing to not just tell you what to do, but really hold your hand and show you the way and stay there through the ups and downs of it all.
Sure.
Because addiction is not just a one-way street.
It's not.
not going to be a perfect recovery at all.
No.
And so, yeah, that's a beautiful story, and the impact is obvious. It's all around us.
Yeah. That's like, you know, this could have never happened.
Yeah.
It could have never, you know, I have a pretty good imagination, but this is exceeding what I would have thought that I was capable of,
I love that.
which is pretty exciting because then you start wondering what's going to be next.
Yeah. So shout out to Ron and Bruce.
Yeah, good guys.
Yeah, good guys. And you're still friends.
100%.
I love that.
Yeah.
Are they in the band?
No.
Okay.
No. Bruce plays music, Ron doesn't, but
Okay.
just good. They're just
He just sings along. I love that.
yeah, just good guys.
Yeah.
Ron's one of those guys who just loves music. So it's interesting when when you play music, it's different, but you have to have people that actually like enjoy the music. And
Absolutely.
and he's one who's like, you know, he'll send me messages every once in a while, like, I'm listening to your music now, you know what I mean, and things like that.
Yeah,
Which
people
is
like, oh, sometimes people tell me, oh, your song came up on my playlist. And I'm like, oh, that's weird. Because when it comes up on mine, I'm like, who's this girl?
it's cool though, you know. It's
Yeah.
like I got some stuff of ours that's on the playlist that plays through the shop, and sometimes I'm working with somebody and I hear music on, and sometimes I'll say something to them like, oh, that's me
That's me.
playing. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so listen, if you've done all the other questions, I want to hear it. So the second question, you want to start with the second one? Or
Yeah, sure. Good on the list. Yeah.
Okay, so the question number 2 is really a hard one to answer, like to
Yeah.
choose. Somebody told me nobody's ever going to choose question number 2 because basically it requires you to shine a light on yourself. You know, our theme song talks about, you know, let your light shine through, and that is, I'm big on that because self-love
Right.
is the first step to loving other people as well. So again, to reiterate, the second question would be, or the second prompt is to talk about an act of love that you showed a person or people and how it affected their lives and yours.
Well, I thought about that for a little bit, and like I said, I read through it, but I thought it was all three. So
That's
I was
okay,
like, so
listen.
so when I thought about it, I thought about this time years ago. This had to be 25 years ago or something like that, and I was on my way to band practice. I was in Anne Arundel County, and I was going up to the city, and I used to always have like a big jug of ice water. It was warm out, and had like towels and stuff because I was going to rehearse, and I knew it was going to be really hot in the practice space and everything like that. And I was driving down the road. I was at Quarterfield Road in Glen Burnie, right where it turns onto going to 97, and a car accident happened right in front of me, and it was a bad one, and the lady was she was in a truck and she was pinned in the car,
Oh, wow.
and I think it broke her legs, and And I got out of the car and I ran over there, and her head was all bloody and everything like that, and she was a mess. And I just remember going and taking the towels and pouring the water out, and like kind of like cleaning her face off and stuff, and then pouring the ice into the towels and like holding it on her head as we were like waiting for the firemen and everything to show up.
Life saving. Yeah.
And it was just like, it just kind of like kicked in to go and do that. And she was in, she was in a bad way. And like, like she was, the impact it had her so that she was stuck in the car and couldn't get out anyway, and so in that time when you're waiting for the police and the fire trucks and ambulance, everything to show up,
Forever.
it's a long time, and you're standing there, with somebody that's, that's in shock and in pain. And it was weird. I think that prompt just made me think of something that I haven't thought about in a long time, and sort of when you just kind of spring into action when, when like a tragedy kind of happens, you know what I mean? And I think that, it's like, I would want somebody to do that for me, you know what I mean? And like, because too many times people will just ride by a car accident and stare at it and keep going, you know what I mean?
And not just, and hold up traffic too. Like, you're not even gonna get out. You're not even gonna
And also just so happened that I had towels and a big jug of ice water, you know what I mean? That
it was almost like it was aligned for you to have.
I didn't know that was going to be something that was going to happen that day, but it happened that day. And it was pretty powerful. I mean, it shook me pretty hard, it's like I'm usually pretty good when there's like I had lifeguarded for years at pools and stuff, and I've been pretty good at when to like jump in action when something's actually happened. And then what I usually find is it's like after the smoke clears a little bit, then it kind of hits you of
wow,
what just happened.
Yeah.
But when it's happening, you have to act fast, you know?
So your fight or flight was definitely on the fight side.
Yeah, in that situation for sure.
Yeah. That's awesome.
100%.
So I have to ask, did she make it?
Yeah. Awesome. So it was pretty powerful. That was a powerful experience. And I was pretty young when that happened too. So it kind of, there's been several moments over the years when you realize like life moves really fast and there's no guarantees, that you'd last forever. That lady was just driving down the road, and when someone had, they had pulled out in front of her, and boom, she hit them hard.
Yeah, so life, absolutely, life does come at you fast. And I was just sitting here thinking, like, there are these moments in time where we are challenged, and how we react basically will shape you forever. You learn something about yourself in that moment too. Like, wow, I'm made of this. This is the stock that I'm made of. And it's like, sometimes you want to think that you are, but you don't ever have the opportunity to say, well, am I not? And in that moment, you were able to create like a foundation of like, yes, this is who I am because I have this act to prove it. So,
right.
Yeah. So that's awesome.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah.
It just made me think about that because it was a bad accident.
Yeah.
It was a bad accident for sure. It was like broad daylight too. Just one of those ones where, it had just happened. Yeah.
So I appreciate you sharing that story.
Thank you.
And that's exactly what the show is designed to do, to tap in and, think about a moment that you haven't thought about for a while.
Right.
The memoir moment. Hey, Love Rocks Nation. This episode of Love Rocks is lovingly sponsored by Kenny Allen and Ears, essential audio recording solutions where sound meets soul. Whether you need music, mixing, voiceovers, live instrumentation, video, photography, it doesn't matter. Kenny Allen handles every one of those projects with care and every detail with heart, just like he does every episode of Love Rocks when he edits them and gets them out to you. Kenny doesn't just record or shoot, he hears and sees the love in you, and through his work, we see the love in him. Follow him on IG at weareears_ or visit his site at weareears.com. Ears, your story, your signature for the love of people, places, and things. Love rocks. Finally, describe a series of events that led you to something or someone that you love, or some place.
Well, I mean, I think that so when I had sobered up, right, I kind of thought that I thought I was gonna have to quit playing music.
Mm.
Because I thought it was, you know, people, places, and things, and I was like, it's probably not the healthiest environment for me to be in anymore. And about and then when I was about 6 months sober, I was working at the place where I was working. Um, there was people there that went to this church, and they kept inviting me to the church all the time. It was down in Federal Hill, and I wasn't really interested in going to the church. I was raised Catholic and then kind of got away from the church, and this was a non-denominational church, and they sang in church and all this stuff, and as they call it in England, they call it a happy clappy church is what that's
Okay.
I've lived in England, and there's some funny sayings, but and so they kept inviting me to the church, and I went to kind of appease them at first, and I was like, you know, I was like, this place is actually, you know, it's pretty cool, and lo and behold, their drummer from the church was moving, and they didn't have anybody, and so kind of my number got pulled. I feel like that it was time to I had a conscience, you know what I mean, and I was like, it's they needed the help. They needed somebody badly. And it was like a 10-piece band.
Oh, wow.
And I went to one rehearsal with them and then played that Sunday in front of a couple hundred people, and had to and you know was playing with them for a while. But there was a guy there named Kenny Miller who was the music minister there, and he was another guy that really took me under his wing, and because I was, you know, I was really unhappy for a long time, you know, because life just wasn't, I had a plan for things and they were not going according to my plan. And that was making me miserable. And so it ended up being that I was, you know, ended up playing in church for, like a year or something like that. And it was rehearsing on Tuesdays and then 2 services on Sunday. And I joked, I was like, oh, you know, God's got a funny sense of humor. He knows I'm a hardhead and need to hear the message twice every Sunday. Was sort of the way that worked. But Kenny kept inviting me to this small group, and I was like, you know, I was playing in a band. I was playing in the church band. You know, I had, you know, it's like, I had a son at that point, you know, so I had a kid. I had a full-time job, and I was like, oh, I don't want to take on another thing, especially with church. I'm already pretty, you know, and so I finally went, and when I went, that's where I met my wife. And so it was my first time going to the group, and she said it was going to be the last time she was going to the group.
Wow.
Penny was trying to like set me up with Gina, and I didn't quite know that because he wanted me just to show up. And I showed up, and it was through going and saying, you know, I'm going to go and play in church, and that I'm going to commit myself to this because they needed me. And that one thing led to another, and that was where I met her, was through the small group there. And now we've been married for this year will be 19 years.
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. So
what a great story.
yeah. So that was kind of, and you know, we're still friends and everything like that. He's a great guy, and just people who really looked after me, and they check in with me every once in a while and see how I'm doing. And like, those are some of the people, when they tell you that they're proud of you, it really carries some weight.
Because they know where you come from.
100%.
You can really see it. So Gina, is she a musician as well?
She is the opposite end of the spectrum of me.
Okay.
She is a mechanical engineer for the government.
Wow.
Yeah, so we are 2 extremely different people.
They say opposites attract.
They do. Sometimes it makes it challenging because I see things in a little bit more of the gray areas, and she's very mathematical, right? So that poses its own challenges, especially with starting a business and everything like that, because that was a pretty challenging time to start this from nothing, and to grow it was pretty challenging, and it was very challenging.
well, 19 years, it seems like you all, have figured it out and are still figuring it out.
You still figure it out.
Every day. That's what I know how it is to be married.
It's a journey. That's
it's
the
definitely
thing.
a journey, but I'm glad that you found your person. That seems like not only just listening to the story, of course, I'm sitting here like, well, what's he going to say? Like, where did he end up?
Yeah.
And I was thinking, well, not only did going to this church where you did not necessarily want to go. Sometimes saying yes to things that you don't necessarily feel like will lead you to things that you didn't know were going to be there. So
That's what I tell the people who work with me all the time. I'm like, when you go out and you start networking and everything like that, I'm like, you meet more people. Say yeah. If you're getting invited places, say yes.
Get out of your own way, because you never know what's going to be the next thing.
You don't know who's looking after you too.
Yeah.
You know that someone might really see something in you and they want to help you, but you only get invited so many times before.
The time is now. Yeah, before they just move on and say you're not serious about it. Yeah.
Because you don't show up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what they say. Showing up is half the battle, right? That's, that's a big part of it for sure.
Smiling is part 2.
Well,
no.
That's true.
It is.
I mean, misery loves company, but it's not the same kind of company.
It's not the same kind of company.
Yeah.
And then I thought, okay, well, going to church, and I was like, oh, well, going to church led you back to something you love. It led you back to the music, because it seemed like you had given up on that, just to kind of create this safe cushion around yourself, because you don't want to relive where you had just came back from. So number one, it got you back to something you love, which was the music.
Yeah.
And then ultimately to, again, a very aligned story to meeting Gina. So
yeah,
thank you so much for sharing that story as
well.
I feel like I know you so well now.
There you go.
I want to move into the next segment of the show, which is called Tap In.
Okay.
Basically, I have a conversation card game here, but this wheel, if you would just take a little spin and make sure spin it like, you mean it. Okay, let's see what we got. Object of affection. Okay, so this is basically where you just look around at anything in here really quickly and tell me why you love it and how it makes you how it makes you feel loved.
I mean, we got to talk about James Brown, don't we?
Yeah.
I mean, that's things like he's right there.
He's right there. I was hoping.
He's waiting for his moment.
Yes.
So I'd found him. We did a fundraiser for Leukemia and Lymphoma Society years ago. There was a building that used to be next to, when I was at 1400 Alisana. It's a space where the bank is now and everything, but it was like a big warehouse at one point. Mm-hmm. And when it was emptied out, they were doing some flea markets and stuff like that in there. And I was going over there checking the space out and looking at what they had over there and everything. And also was planning on doing a fundraiser in this building, which we ended up doing. But I walked through and I saw James Brown and I was like, oh my Lord, I gotta have that. So he's been with me now for over a decade for sure, and still works like a champ. And he just
I love him. And listen, at the end of the show, I'm definitely going to make sure that he gets his moment to sing, and we record that.
Oh yeah, it's great. It's great.
Really love him.
I mean, James Brown is
James Brown's a man,
100%. What a
genius.
What a character. What a character. I mean, in a million different ways. But I mean, and even just the musicianship that he had with his bands. Oh my Lord, so good. So many great tunes.
So good. Yes.
Exactly. Exactly.
I caught that one.
Yeah.
So the next segment is a rapid fire. It's called That Ain't Love. So.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So the answer, you have two choices. You can say love. That's love, or that ain't love. Mm-hmm. Okay. And I'm just going to throw some things out. Don't think about it too hard.
Okay.
All right. We're going to start with a 3-piece corduroy suit.
Now that can look cool. That could be love.
That
could be love. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. Polka dots with stripes.
Polka dots and stripes. If the polka dots are on the socks.
Okay. So that's love.
That's love.
That's love. All right. Picking crabs.
Not love for me.
Not love.
Not love for me. I'll eat a crab cake, but I don't like picking them.
Okay.
I just had shrimp last night. I'm like, I don't mind peeling shrimp.
But the crab.
Crabs
like,
just don't do it.
work.
No. There's a crab house right across the
I
street.
know. That's why I was like, I gotta ask this question.
Yeah, no,
that's
it's
like, you're right next to Captain James.
people love that. People love this, but for me, not the love.
What's really love is picking crabs and giving it to somebody else.
That is.
Yeah, that's love.
When someone's really good with it and they're just hammering away.
like, oh, they're gonna make it. They're really gonna make it.
Yeah, that's a special kind of love.
Yes. Okay. Pennies in your penny loafers.
Oh. I'm not a penny lover, guy, so I'm gonna say not the love.
Not love. That's not love. Okay. All right. Let's see. Let's do 2 more. Cilantro.
Oh, yeah, I love it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because
You know what they say with that is like people either love the taste of it or it tastes like soap.
Soap, yeah,
I have a friend of mine that tastes like soap too.
they think there's like some kind of mental thing. It's like
Yeah.
kind of like lilies for me. Like I can't. Some people don't smell it and it repulses me. Like makes me physically sick.
Really?
Yeah. So I think it's kind of like that. It's something that we just can't even help.
It's weird to think, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like,
No, that's
when I come in the room, I'm like, I can't.
No, I love Mexican food, so it's like,
yeah,
yeah.
cilantro.
Oh yeah.
All right. Here we go. One more.
Okay.
Anna Wintour.
You know, I think you gotta love her.
You gotta love her.
I think you gotta love her. It's like
you gotta love her what she is.
yeah,
right?
I think she is herself 100%. So I'd say love.
Okay. Ding, ding. Guess who loves you?
What do I like about Christopher Schafer? Everything. What I may like about Chris, his personality. I love the things that I've learned from him. I'm sure he loves the things that he's learned from me. But I just love his whole being, you know, and I love being a part of Shop Dress Man. And yeah, everything. I love Christopher Schafer. Period.
You already know what it is, man. It's your boy Larry, what up? And I'm from Baltimore with love, and today it's about my guy Christopher Schafer. And one of the things that I love about my brother Christopher Schafer is he's given away 19,000 suits since he started his organization, Shop Dress Man. Listen, man, he has a heart of gold. When I first met Christopher, I felt like we knew each other already. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's my brother, 20 grand. You know, my own, you know what I mean?
Christopher Schafer has been a big mentor to me in my career and in my life, and as I always say, he is my trusted add-on. Chris is really just authentic and real, easy to talk to, great to work with, great to be around, no notes.
Okay, so one last thing. This is called the Passing the Love Torch.
Okay.
Where I would just like you to just kind of think 1 second, look into the camera, and based on now this experience that you've had, who would you recommend that could be the next person sharing their story?
So I think the person that I'll recommend to you would be my friend Joey Jett. He's a professional skateboarder, and he has a nonprofit organization as well. That I'm the president of the nonprofit, but it teaches kids how to skate, and also teaches them art and doing videography. And he's a really talented. His skateboarding is so fluid. Is mind blowing, but he's a young guy too.
Really?
Yeah, he's in his mid-20s.
Oh wow!
He turned pro skateboarding when he was 9.
And already has a nonprofit. This new generation.
So
I tell you.
he's a good dude, and but he has a facility that's inside of the Charm City Skate Park. The Charm City Skate Park is a 30,000 square foot indoor skate park, and he has a facility inside of there with a mini half pipe, and he's just expanded on. He's teaching kids music, and he does screen printing in there and everything like that.
Wow.
But I would recommend him. I think you'd like him a lot.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm sure I will. 'Cause
Yeah.
anybody who is a friend of yours, I'm sure.
Yeah, he's a really good guy. We've become really good friends over the years for sure. So I would recommend him.
Okay, and I appreciate that.
Sure, of course.
So that concludes the show. I just want to say I thank you so much. Number one,
sure.
for just allowing us to film in your space. Number two, being so gracious enough to, you responded so quickly. Like, you got back, you were excited. That means a lot to me. Like I
Oh,
said,
cool.
this is my second interview. So, getting people to say yes is, helps to motivate me
Right.
to continue on the journey. So again, thank you so much. And, thank you for watching this episode of Love Rocks. Again, we explore the love of people, places, and things, getting our guests to tap into moments that they may not have otherwise thought about. And although they needed to be shared, we believe everybody has a story to share, and we see the love in you. So, see you next time.
Right on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you got me thinking a little bit.